Did you know that living fearlessly does not mean to live without fear? Have you been on an endless pursuit for the answer as to how to accomplish the task of removing fear from your life? When the more you try, the more it seems like all you experience is, well, just more fear. Life seems to always be a challenge, a domino effect from one issue to the next, with a very small window for the sun to peek through. You know you want to feel amazing. You're ready to step up and take a few awkward risks and flex some of that inner bravado. And you certainly want to be able to trust in the divine plan. But it never seems to let up. Did you ever think that you might be trying too hard to control it? And it just doesn't occur to you that you have made fear your enemy? And by the way, that fear will always have you at odds with yourself. And as long as you continue to feed the kitty, then the battle, my friends, has just begun. If this is you, then it's time to make peace with the war you have waged upon yourself. Let's do this. Hello, rock and rollers. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. I'm Izzy, your soul energy alchemist, and I'm here to help you embrace your IZ-NESS. After this video, if you feel like what I have to say resonates with your truth, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe so we can move along this journey together and effect a higher state of collective expansion, okay? Awesome. So, fear. Why does this word seem to incite such a powerful, reaction from us? It seems to have taken on a life of its own, specifically in the spiritual community, where we focus so much on how it affects our realities if we don't rid ourselves from it. And so when we are faced with our fears, which are cultivated from our personal traumas into our subconscious mind, its very presence feels like something is wrong and that we need to, eradicate it immediately. Do something to make it go away. But does it? Can it? That's a resounding no. Fear is here to stay, my friends, for it is the only way we can actually reside in this realm, as it is all fear-based energy. It's good, it's bad, hot and cold, Democrat, Republican, right, wrong, blah, 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 blah. In fact, this is the only plane that there is such a thing. No other universe or dimension is polarized. What? See, we were incarnated here specifically to experience fear, which sounds counterintuitive if we are then made to believe we shouldn't experience it at all. And feelings of it being wrong is just the duality of it being right, right? Right. Remember, everything just is. Nothing has any inherent meaning except the meaning we give it. We make fear the enemy because we are not liking what we are witnessing. And when we are doing in order to fix something that we think is broken or lacking in our lives, this just leads to more fear because we are coming at it with fear-based intention. Chasing, needing, longing, controlling. Where your energy goes, your energy flows. And your ego loves this shit. Your ego will not go away quietly. So it will grasp at straws to keep you on the hamster wheel and under its thumb. It preys on your weakness, also known as your pain body, and will create thoughts that will, feed the compulsive unconscious addictions that reside within. See, life moves as an energetic spiral and not as a timeline. So fear will reverberate back like a boomerang with the same intensity until we are able to observe it outside of ourselves instead of embodying it. which is all perfect, for it is you. But in order to alchemize it into love energy, we must detach from our thoughts, the very source of fear itself. We do this by shining our light onto it, calling it out. I see you and I accept you. And love it as you should every part of yourself, especially the parts that you have neglected your entire life by believing you didn't deserve real love. So I'll link my video about detaching in the description box below, entitled Stop the Tail from Wagging the Dog, which goes into more detail on the how, okay? And when we can get to that level of awareness by making it our friend, it transmutes our reality as the reflection of our newly defined, elevated self, empowering us to take action with more confidence and trustworthiness from the place of being, which is present moment awareness. First, with the doing and having, distant runners up. Are you guys following? In other words, prioritizing being will naturally align the doing and having, okay? See, living fearlessly means that we are not without fear, but that fear does not dictate how we are going to rock and roll, you see. A higher state of being fosters enormous growth and elevates our consciousness, all while dissipating fear in power and intimidation. It means observing it and deciding it is not your master. So instead of being taken over by the ebbs and flows of life, getting triggered and pushed to the limits emotionally, deciding you're done and closing off your heart, falling into a depression when it seems like you don't even know why you're here. Embracing fear becomes your greatest teacher, showing you where you are being held captive and where love needs to penetrate. And with that, we can now navigate it as a skilled surgeon, equipped with tools and a finely tuned intuition to guide us to our next impulse. Being fearless means you trust in yourself as a soul to go for that job you're sure you're unqualified for. Start that business besides having feelings of imposter syndrome. Address that unhealthy relationship, and why you attracted it. And make that scary financial jump. Those fearless actions will take you to the next level of your awakening and strengthen your point of attraction muscle. It's letting go and allowing. But it is okay if you are not ready to go from 0 to 60. If you guys are familiar with Abraham Hicks, they are famously known for saying, but you can't get here from there. Your ascension process requires you to scale up from a lower vibrational state toward your highest self, moving you through the entire spectrum, spiraling upward, taking you from fear into love, transmuting each level as you go, bringing to you what you need in order to align and balance your energetic body. So instead of running that New York City Marathon today, you might not be ready for it until next spring because there is still work to do. Maybe that huge financial leap leaves you a little trepidatious. Wait a minute, hold on, not so fast. So you want to consider a smaller risk, like a cool and practical purchase that you may not have dared to or felt worthy of having before. Perhaps looking deeper into that unhealthy dynamic you've got going on with someone that is distracting you from taking a hard look at yourself and sit in your own shit. Instead of focusing on what you believe are someone else's shortcomings, You redirect your awareness inward and what it is you feel. And from there, you take stock on how you've been showing up in your relationships and the patterns you've been ignoring, okay? Now, these are just some examples of the baby steps you might take toward your destiny, springboarding off every transition from the place of unconditional love energy, okay? And not the mind chatter telling you how this won't work out, or that if I have what I want, the car will break down for sure now that I have some money. And it's important that you accept how your journey is unfolding, for everything is happening for a reason and is, divinely led, depending on where you are in your awakening process. It can never go backwards. And with that awareness, you can then go from crawling to walking, using new life circumstances your soul brings in to be fearless. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You will always have to deal with duality, but how you respond to it is where true transformation occurs. And then from there, you go from walking to jogging. Or as I'd like to say, I moseyed for a bit. Because I had a fractured, limiting belief system around money, due to my father's careless behavior with it. And he just didn't know better. He was a great provider, and his kids were his number one, but it wasn't healthy. And money was a huge source of stress in my childhood home, in my marriage, and well into my 40s post-divorce. I lived paycheck to paycheck, even when my career afforded me a large salary. My mindset is what determined how I was going to experience it, regardless of how much I actually earned. And that created a very low financial ceiling for me before I was able to acknowledge the part it played in my life, accept it for what it was without judgment, and then unconditionally love that part of me that felt like I was failing at life and success. Until the continuous inner work I committed to began to reflect my higher vibrational state. During those earlier awakening years, I was making the same, so-so income as a mostly stay-at-home single mom. But now I lived life on my own financial terms. It's freaking magic. Money became my servant instead. And no matter what I spend, money just never dissolves. And it always shows up as long as I approach it with the energy that is love, which is fearless energy. If you honor it, show gratitude for it, and let go of the desperate need to acquire it, regardless of what your life looks like, it will serve your highest good. But it begins with loving all that is you, including the fear that is part of your creation as a whole and complete being. It is not something to shame or turn against. It needs you now more than ever to love it as it is so it can set you free. Where your energy goes, your energy flows. You get to choose. So what's it going to be? Are you going to continue to draw battle lines in the sand, or are you going to declare a ceasefire as a treaty of peace? I hope you decide to be fearless in your fear. Thank you all so very much for your presence. And until next time, be well and namaste.